I am Mary Gatiman, a third-year BSN major in English. And today, I'll be sharing with you an important topic in our course, ED301, the Teacher and the School Curriculum. We'll explore the elements of curriculum designing, what they are, why they matter, and how they actually shape the way we teach and learn inside the classroom. Before I officially begin, let me go over the objectives for today's lesson. At the end of the lesson, students will be able to K. Identify and explain the 5 elements of curriculum design. S. Analyze examples from classroom situations to illustrate how the elements of curriculum design are applied. A. Participate in a role play to show how each element of systematic curriculum design contributes to meaningful and effective teaching and learning. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a class where the lessons felt scattered, unconnected, or maybe even meaningless? Or maybe the opposite. You had a teacher whose lessons were so well structured that everything seemed to flow naturally. What makes the difference? The answer often lies in curriculum design. Today, I'll walk you through the 5 essential elements of designing a curriculum and why each one matters in shaping effective teaching and meaningful learning. But before we dive into those elements, let's first talk about what curriculum designing really means. So in simple terms, curriculum designing is like creating a roadmap for learning. It's the process of deciding what knowledge and skills students need, how they're going to learn them, and how we'll check if they've truly understood. It's not just about choosing topics from a book, but it's about organizing lessons in a way that makes sense, connect ideas, and prepare students not only for exams, but for real life. Think of it as the blueprint that guides both teachers and learners toward meaningful educational goals. Now, there are 5 elements of curriculum designing. Let's start with aims, goals, and objectives. These 3 are often confused, but they work together like a roadmap. Aims are the big picture, the long-term vision of education. For example, schools may aim to develop students into responsible, critical thinkers who can contribute to society. Goals are more specific than aims. Think of them as the general skills or abilities a program wants to nurture, like improving problem-solving skills in math or developing scientific literacy in science. Objectives are the most concrete. These describe what students should achieve by the end of a lesson, and they're measurable. For instance, in a grade 9 math class, an objective could be, by the end of the lesson, students can solve quadratic equations by factoring. So in simple terms, aims are the vision, goals are the direction, and objectives are the exact steps to get there. And now let us proceed to the second element, which is the content or subject matter. Once we know what we want to achieve, the next step is deciding what students need to learn. This is the content. Content includes knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values. But here's the important part. Not all content is worth teaching. It has to be valid, meaningful, and appropriate for the students' level. Take a grade 5 science class, for example. If the lesson is about the water cycle, the content should cover key concepts like evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. The teacher can use diagrams, videos, and readings to make the content clear. The point is to make sure the material isn't just accurate, but also engaging and relatable for the learners. Now, having good content isn't enough. How we teach it matters just as much. This is where learning experiences come in. Learning experiences are the activities and strategies that allow students to actually engage with the content. For example, teaching the water cycle shouldn't just be about lecturing and showing slides. A teacher could do a hands-on experiment showing how water evaporates, or ask students to role-play as clouds, rain, or the sun, or also connect the lesson to real life, like discussing how farmers rely on the water cycle for growing crops. When students experience learning in different ways, through experiments, role-plays, discussions, they remember more and understand more deeply. Now let us proceed to the 4th element, organization of content and learning experiences. But even if we have great content and creative activities, they won't be effective unless they're organized properly. So this is about sequencing lessons in a way that builds knowledge step by step. Think about how students students learn English. In grade 1, they first learn letters and sounds. In grade 2, they combine these to read simple words and sentences. By grade 3, they're already writing short paragraphs. Now, these logical sequence make learning smoother. Without organization, students may feel lost or overwhelmed. Good curriculum design ensures that lessons build on each other, connecting the past, present, and future of learning. The last element is evaluation. This is how we check if the learning goals have actually been achieved. Evaluation isn't just about giving final exams. It's a continuous process. Now, there are different types of evaluation, with the diagnostic, formative, and summative. Diagnostic, which happens before the lesson. For example, asking students what they already know about the rain before starting the water cycle unit. Then we have formative, which happens during the lesson, like giving a short quiz or asking oral questions to see if students are following along. Then we have the summative, which happens at the end. This could be a task where students draw and label the water cycle. Evaluation guides teachers in adjusting instruction and helps students understand where they are in their learning journey. To wrap up the 5 elements of curriculum designing, aims and objectives, content, learning experiences or organization, and evaluation are all connected. Together, they form a system that makes education meaningful and effective. Now, if teachers only focus on one element and ignore the others, learning becomes unbalanced. But when all 5 are carefully considered, lessons become more than just activities. They become purposeful experiences that prepare students not only for exams, but for life beyond school. So next time you're in class, whether as a student or as a future teacher, think about this. Which of these elements